All right, there we go. Looks like we're live. I forgot to check if my microphone still sounds all right, so hopefully everyone can hear me. So howdy everyone, it's Crow's Nest No Quarter, episode 69. This one's a Swarmin or Snorin. That seems to be the options for this raid. So we'll say howdy to everyone, and then I'll mute and get onto YouTube and blah, 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 blah. So at the moment, did I link in the Hangout? I don't think I did in the YouTube chat. I'll do that in a sec. So if you want to join us, feel free. So we'll say howdy to who's here, which is Tyrion.
Evening, everyone.
We've got Damnation.
What's
up? The energy and devotion that goes into that. Very sweaty Ross.
Good evening, everyone.
Wait. Would you please clarify that?
Yeah, actually, I'm sitting here. My furnace, the air conditioning is out in my home, and I'm temporarily waiting for the serviceman to get here. So that's why I might jump off in the middle of the show. And that will be a good thing if the air conditioning repair people come.
Which is why he's hot and sweaty.
Yes.
We've got Simba Dakota.
Hello.
And we've got Cuttlefish.
Hello, everyone.
And me, RB. So, I'll mute. So I guess we'll talk about the raid. So whoever wants to take it away, go for it.
Sure, I'll take it away. It's okay. I mean, it's nothing extremely exciting. I'm just mainly doing the 112s and the 114s. I have 3 silverfish and a flag. None of them are completely built. Like, they're not all armored at all. But I've been, going out and doing sets without much of a problem, and then just let them slow repair. But, I mean, it's going okay.
I'll go next. I'm at about 21 million. I'm doing the 500s and 501 sets with prepping targets out with a suppressor. I've got a full 5-ship fleet. The only thing that's holding me back at the moment is I don't actually see anything I really need in this raid. So I'm not particularly motivated into grinding harder.
Okay, I'm at 16 mil, and I'm done with it. Nothing there. Already got everything. But I'm hitting the 500s and 501s with the suppressor and a full fleet. Most of them U2.
I'm at 10.8. I was grinding the 112s and the 114s. And pretty much have everything I need out of the raid already, so not really trying to grind anymore. That I'm sort of pissed off because I didn't upgrade my shipyard, and now I'm sitting waiting for it to finish.
And I bet it's a slow wait.
Yeah, because just one day build tokens don't stack. They should.
Yeah. You should be able to stack 2 of them.
I want more than 2.
I know.
And you haven't got any of the... Oh, no, they would be...
The 7-day build things? No.
Yeah. I just realized that as I started saying it, so... Yeah. Well, that's good, because I win, because I've got the lowest score, because I'm on 4.4 million, because, I'm on a deliberate go slow strategy for 2 reasons. One of them, 6-day raid. Was I the one who was confused about that?
Was anybody else blindsided by that? I know I was.
Yeah, I was totally, actually. And I even told somebody they were wrong until, I couldn't believe it. I was wrong.
Yeah, it was I wasn't expecting that at all, to be quite honest. And this week's been a bit of one of highs and lows because I guess well actually I'll say why I'm going slow, which is that to me, as someone who drives a lot, the steering issue that still hasn't been fixed is a really, really, really big deal because, you know, this whole game, well, not this whole game, but my whole game is about driving and trying to do the targets as well as I can for as little damage as I can. And the fact that this driving issue still hasn't been fixed, to me just says, well, you know, I'm usually one who is prepared to spend a bit of money on repairs for raids, but screw them. If they can't even fix a simple issue like this, they don't deserve my money, quite honestly.
Okay, now we had talked a little bit about this in the pre-show, but we didn't really go into detail because, like I said, I know I'm not having any issues with steering and driving at all when I'm doing the 112s, 114s. What target are you having this issue in?
So it is in the 110s and 108s because I've still been waiting for my silverfish to finish off, just because, you know, I don't like spending a whole day token on 10 hours and stuff like that. So for, you know, the whole mechanic of those targets is that, well, the whole mechanic of a lot of targets is that ships turn on a particular radius, you know, and to have a ghost crawler that now just basically rotates on its axis is not good enough. You'll find that it's not so much of an issue in the newer targets, but in a target like those ones, for example, so for people who don't have silverfish, they're taking way more damage than what they might have needed to, because a ghost crawler that should be, you know, taking 30 seconds to turn around is now taking 0.5 of a second to turn around. And I just don't like the twitchiness of it. There's a lot of it that's just, in my mind, is wrong. So, yeah.
Yeah, I almost think that it's here to stay. I kind of think that they changed the mechanics on how all game-wide the ships turn. I'm not. I'm noticing it in my Basilisk the most because I used that, or I did use it to prep. Well, the turning issue is maybe not for some, because when I mention things in Discord, everybody tells me I'm wrong, but yeah, for me, it's put me to stop using a fleet that I coined to buy, and it's upsetting because it's junk. The thing's all over the place. You can't target. You can't hit what you want. It moves so erratically that it's just, how about, it's just not fun. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I mean, it's just not fun. It's not fun to drive. It's not fun to use, and it's even worse to coin because of that. So that's what I'm running into. So the Basilisk is my issue. It's not fun. It was a fun haul. You increased it. You did the upgrades, so I could snipe. I could do all that, and then you took the fun away. So I parked it. So that's what I'm doing it also. And I feel you on the. I'm at 13 mil in the raid, and I have a full fleet of silverfish, and they're at U2. And let me tell you, they're about underperforming nonsense. They that fleet, it really is just bad fleet to me. It's not performing correctly at all.
See,
what is not performing correctly in your opinion? Because I don't even have a full fleet, and I'm doing okay in the top targets.
So, if someone in my alliance has the exact same build, exact same fleet, with no armor at all, none, and they are doing better than me in the same target, there's something wrong.
It means they're better armored than you are.
No. They're just driving right through it, taking the full-on damage the same way I drive. And they are just because they watch me just drive right through it to take the maximum I can to compare the maximum they can with 0 armor. And 0 armor wins. And I have all 1 second repair armor on my fleet. And it's full.
I'd have to watch that because something about that just right.
I know. I'm that's what I'm saying is happening. No repair outperforms. No armor outperforms armor. On this in the one.
And that's where I totally don't agree, because I have some that are fully armored and some that aren't fully armored, and my ones that are fully armored hold up way better than my ones that aren't armored. So I would have to strongly disagree with that based on personal experience.
I'm reading it in Discord as well. People are having the exact same experience as I am having. I'm not alone out here.
Roping it back into the turn speed issue, I find that interesting about the Ghost Crawler, because I hadn't seen that, because I hadn't done that target. And it is different from the turn speed issue that I'm actually encountering with the suppressor. The suppressor, once it goes underwater, if you put an engine on it, man, does that thing get fast. And if you try to take too sharp a turn, close to 90 degrees, your ship will come to a dead stop and then pivot. And as it pivots, of course, its combat speed goes to 0, and it pops to the surface.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
That has happened to me a bunch of times trying to drive that around. It was very irritating.
Yeah, that's actually on Discord. That surfacing issue seems to be a hard one for many people. It's the sharp turns that cause.
Yeah, that one I've seen a lot.
Yeah, I don't have the hull, so I'm not. I mean, I'm building it, but.
So what it looks like to me is, now that we see that it's affecting both PvE, PvP ships, the suppressor, and the Ghost Crawler in the targets, I think you're right. I think they have actually fiddled with it, fiddled with the turn speed mechanics, rather than any individual hull having an issue.
I think they originally changed it for the shipwrecks, and it transformed into everyone else's fleets and is causing chaos.
I have Strike 5 on my suppressor, so I still have some really good turn speed on it, and that is not, so it's not a question of having a boost to turn speed, which helps it. It's just every time I take a super sharp turn, surface.
Yeah, it's like removed the arc and it replaced it with pivot points. For all the hulls, and certain hulls have more drastic of pivot points than others. Understand? You know what I mean? In the past, all the hulls had arcs, and some had small arcs, and some had greater arcs. And as far as how they turned, and now they do have these points where they pivot, and so it is strange.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, all this got introduced whenever they brought out interceptors, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
It seems to be, yeah.
Because I remember how we were talking with RB on the Hangout when we were doing that first event with them, how interceptors, it's like you would just move them just a tiny bit and they would that arc would swing like no tomorrow.
And the all stop button does not stop your rotation. It just stops your forward momentum.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it would be interesting to see because the suppressor, for example, has got, is it 75 or something turn speed already? It's something like So Cuddles, yours would be going at some ridiculous amount, no doubt. So I wonder if it's, fleets that have got a higher turn speed, like a base turn speed of the hull, whether they're the ones that are affected more, perhaps. I'm just thinking out loud type thing. And then, in other ships, you really don't see it anywhere near as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I mean, we can't. You can send a bug report up, but
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like there's very little talk about it. So, to me, I just find it extremely irritating that especially when there's times that they're asking for surveys and stuff like that, and things that are highlighted that are clearly broken aren't fixed. So, anyway. So there you go. But you wanted to talk about your grinding strategy, Cuddle. Or there's a few of them, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this, if you all, everybody should have been given a free Proto-Apollo fleet. If you shatter this fleet into 5 individual fleets and auto 40s and 43s, you should be able to, these targets are done very quickly. You'll have a hard time keeping your ships always in targets, but you should be able to grind about 1 million points per hour. And as other people have mentioned, there are other fleets that can do this as well. If you're willing to put in the seat time, you can get as many points as you want out of this. But yeah, that's the easy strategy for it. I mean, the 501, I'm doing the 501s because it's easier than these grinding. But if you don't have the fleets, get your points.
Yeah, the bat rays are doing pretty well too in the what is it, the 80s, isn't it?
The 80s, right? I that's what I went with. I preferred them, and just let them slow repair the damage I took in them. If it worked out okay. I'm not getting massive points, but it works out in my favor. In all honesty, if I don't have to spend money on the raid, I'm happier actually. So it's just not very fun.
Well, let's look at the prize list. What do you all actually want out of the prize list? Is there anything, I'm going for the suppressor and the Cormorant anti-torpedoes as my must-haves. But I'm not particularly interested in the shipwreck, so I could care less about the interceptor.
I had to backtrack and get the Praetorian flag, and I'll get the suppressor. And other than that, I don't really care about anything, unless they throw some Praetorian build tokens in there later in the raid.
True story. In my dock right now, the Praetorian flag is building.
I took the new special because I have a feeling that whatever's coming in the FM after the raid is going to tie into that special. Because it's got the explosive thing on it, which, frankly, Silverfish doesn't have anything for explosive, but who knows what the FM's going to drop.
Skirmish tech, though.
I took the suppressor. I'm waiting for my shipyard to finish so I can build the stupid thing, and it'll be ready for the next raid. I took the ugly octopus thing. I don't know if I'm actually going to build it, but I have the blueprint, so I can have one. Don't really want any full fleet of them.
It's a
I
one-day
might grab more the anti-torpedoes, and I think there was something else that I was looking at, but those are just extra items that I can get if I decide to grind.
I see Mike and Chad is asking if we think they'll drop new prizes in. They've been dropping prizes in here and there anyway without announcing them. So it would not surprise me at all to see more prizes.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that too. Once we get to, or whatever, and especially being a 6-day raid. But I don't know. Part of me also wonders whether that it's, you know, because it's the first raid of this, you know, ridiculous cycle or whatever, that maybe they will just leave it the way it is. I don't know. I don't have any knowledge one way or another, really. So it's...
Well, that kind of leads me into something that I wanted to ask everybody. Like, what do you think of this new format?
I hate it.
Horrible.
I mean, that's pretty easy. The fact that we start off the 2-month cycle to build this raid fleet is already a super compressed time frame. They don't give us all the parts to actually put onto this hull. They space it out. The only reason I have a 5-ship fleet is here. I had to dedicate 100% of my time to building this fleet, plus a bit of coin, to get this raid fleet out. I am far ahead of anyone in my alliance who is not coining, and anyone who isn't putting 100% into the fleet is, they'll be done by the second raid. Most of my alliance mates, but that's putting in all their time here. We put our Praetorian fleets on hold. Can't do anything else. And then a $20 deal comes along.
Yes.
We knew that.
The one thing I've noticed that I kind of like, I'm not saying I'm a big fan of this format, but the one thing I have noticed that I've kind of liked is so far they have not come out with anything that we had to refit onto our boats. So once we built them and we were done, we were more or less actually done.
Actually, that's a pretty good point, because, we were saying, that you would get the upgrades of the upgrades of the upgrades of the upgrades, and, well, not upgrades, but, shards of weapons to then refit specials, to then refit armor. So that's probably quite fair. So
well, we shall see after the FM. And I can't tell you how mad I will be if the D7Xs are in the FM.
Yeah, I know quite a few people, myself included, will be a little salty about that.
Why is that?
Because you went from a 1-day refit of a D6X to now you're going to have to do a taking of that off to put on a 7-hour D7X.
Mm-hmm.
And my armor loadout is going to be one of the D7 CTs and three X plates. So even if they put the D7X in the FM, there's only 3 FMs before the raid, which are spaced out to make it super irritating. That only gives me 6 of them. I need 15. So just the same problem I have had with the D7 CTs, because originally I was going to do 2 plates of D7 CT per ship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the FMs, I only have 8 of them, because we had that secret FM.
Yeah.
So yeah, I only have 8 of them, so I couldn't even fill out my entire fleet. The D7s come out.
I can't believe the disparity between the D7s and the D6s. I can't believe when they came out with the D7s, they didn't go back and reduce the time on all the other armors. That blows my mind, because, you put year-old tech on it, it's like a day and something, and you put the brand new tech on and it's like 7 hours. Like, that's like, what? What do you not ever look in your rearview mirror ever?
Generally not. They don't, no.
I'm going to do a little refitting. I've noticed that some people in the Alliance have been pulling not all it, but the anti-torpedoes off. And no kidding, they've been changing them with sprints. And it's helping quite a bit. And so I think I'm going to do that on a couple ships. So
that would tend to make sense, because I know all my battle reports are indicating you're taking a lot more explosive damage than you are concussive, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess going back to what you were talking about with this format, this is to me, while I agree with that we're not having to do all those refits and stuff like that, it doesn't give us any time to tune a fleet or anything like that, because we were going into this completely blind, so there'll be a lot of people that have partial builds of silverfish, people who don't have silverfish at all. If anything, it probably benefits them, to be quite honest. But we didn't know what we were building for, and then by the time we now know what we're building for, and it's like, well, it's going to change next raid anyway again. So because obviously these target the 500s and the 501s will be the lower ranked target again. So actually, I don't know how they're going to do it this time, to be honest, now that I say that.
Yeah, and by no means, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that I like this format at all. I'm just saying one positive thing is we haven't had, there's not a whole bunch of new limited tech coming out that we have to refit.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought it was interesting, too, how they're giving us access to the limited siege cannon weapon, well before that cycle is even coming around. Personally, I thought that was a step in a positive direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a interesting one. So, because I know now that we're seeing the explosive damage being king, so if we all change everything to negate to that, or to negate that, next raid will be it'll all be concussive damage, so you can't win either. So.
Yeah, this is the July raid, so it's Christmas in July, and there's not really a lot of things for people who already have everything. So that's one of the reasons why there's low grind numbers versus high grind numbers.
Well, and quite honestly, I'm actually kind of glad to see a raid where there's not a whole lot of new shit, because all those people now who are so far behind actually get a little bit of a chance to get caught up. It's okay to not have every single raid be about the people at the top of the pile.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess for me, the points are easier to get in pillage and stuff like that. So I know I'm going to put more effort into pillage than what I will need to in this raid. So I'm quite happy to let this one go floating on down and not worry too much about it. So.
See, and I'm kind of kicking myself for having a full fleet of silk. Well, I don't have the suppressor yet, like many, or some, but I really I thought I put a lot of effort. I did put some effort in a full fleet of silverfish all the way up to U2. And just attacking the target with that, since you can't hit down with them, I'm overly disappointed in the hull, in all honesty. If you're just looking at it just as a fleet, it's a disappointment to me. It's an underperformer. It's a high damage.
I find it tricky to drive, especially with the UAVs on the regular ships being just slightly longer range than your actual cannon, so I stun ships outside my weapon range all day long.
Yes.
And I really hate how the UAVs off the silverfish launch off the side and take a nice leisurely stroll and make sure my flanks are secure before attacking the enemy target. Whereas the ones off of my flagship, which are little red ones, fly directly at the enemy with a much faster projectile speed and hit them in a nice straight line. So a much shorter time to target. I wish the silverfish ones were the same, because this looping around makes it hard for me to stun targets and put fire on them. Does that make sense?
No,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, exactly. That's why I chose to drive right through the middle, can take the stun and go for the fast kill, but I can stun them that way instead of driving out of range. You know what I mean? I don't totally take on every ship in the whole target at once, but I do charge one at a time, or you know, if I can, because I don't want to get out of range.
Yeah, I don't really have the. I haven't hit enough of these targets to really be coming up with a solid game plan of how to do it at the moment. So yeah, it's interesting to hear other people's versions of how they're doing it and that sort of thing, though. So definitely.
Honestly, I think the only thing that's holding me back from being extremely successful in the 112 and 114s is the fact that I'm down an entire boat. Other than that, I think I'm doing really good.
What's your damage in one target?
With only 3 boats and a flag, when I do the 114, I think I lose like a quarter of my fleet. What that comes down to in time, I'm not sure. I want to say it's probably like 3 coins or something.
Yeah, I'm that's what I'm at with the full fleet.
And I know if I had the 4th regular boat, I would get that down because my time to kill would be much quicker. So that would be taking damage for less amount of time.
So there's a few different strategies of how to be successful. So I know that it seems that you either really like the suppressor or you don't, and it's interesting that the turn speed issue is affecting that. So because I've heard some people absolutely rave how much they love it, and some people say how much they absolutely hate it. So I guess when we get to those, yeah, I don't know.
I know one of the big things too, strategy-wise, is make sure you pull the subs away from the healing subs and get them outside of that green ring. Because if you're trying to kill them and then they're in that green ring, you're just going to get eaten alive. You got to do some heavy kite.
Or focus it down.
My worst driving was a 15 gold repair. My best driving was 5 gold.
For a set or for a target?
For 114. So when I first did the target, and then as I was getting tired of driving, it got worse. Then I started slow repairing because it got too expensive. I'm like, this is not good.
Yeah, even five coins for one target is way too much in my mind.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think I've been coming at about 7 coins per set, and like I said, that's being down a boat. So I don't know. Like, how are you driving the target?
Originally, I was going up the right side and then kiting and running away from torpedoes. If you go up the left side and try and run away from torpedoes, there's not enough room, so you end up biting a few of them. And my build is currently needs to be changed, but my shipyard's down, so I can't touch it.
Sorry, I'm just reading the chat, so sorry for the silence there. So there's some very interesting comments in the chat. So
I do have dude, I have a silverfish with that hydrofoil plating too. You know,
Yeah, that's my whole build is hydroplating too.
And I'm not picking up any more repair time in that than with the 1 second repair. So I'm happy about that, at least, because the D7 CT and the D6X I have on the other hull. The hydrofoil plating 2 is actually picking up the same amount of repair time as that. So it's rather shocking. It's doing all right, I guess.
Well, I have noticed that just via the battle report that evade seems to make a crap ton of difference against these torpedoes. Because like my green bar where it says damage evaded is usually like pretty freaking big in my battle report, and my evade on mine's not even all that high. I have like I think as far as evade goes, I think the only thing I have on there for evade is Hyper 30.
Is anybody running any different CICs other than the kill smart torpedo ones?
I'm running all surface ship ones.
I'm running.
Is that working for you?
It seems to be. I mean, I can kill the boat and the subs either way, but they're definitely faster to kill when they're surface.
I'm running 3 elusive, 2 staff torpedoes, and I'm running 2 deadly to surface ships. So it seems to be working.
Is that the difference with you, Ross, as well? With your,
I got one deadly, and the rest. Or I'm sorry, not that. I have one surface one, and the rest are the others. And I'm killing them before they're surface. So the setup I have with the 4 and 1 is not a good situation, because I'm not surfacing them before I'm killing them. So I guess the point would be, if he just said that he has 2 and it's working for him, that I guess that the magic number would be 2.
All right, I've found that the smart torpedoes really, really hurt your fleet. So I went with to get rid of all the smart torpedoes. Because I saw one of my friends take a hit from one of those smart torpedoes and hurt his fleet quite badly.
I just drive around them. I never get hit by them.
Yeah, I don't think I get hit very much, in all honesty. I mean,
okay.
Because
Yes, my friend was driving into them. I fully admit that. And I was just like, what are you doing? And saw his fleet start disintegrating. And I was like,
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I have noticed, though, that autoing is really screwed up in these targets because there's a couple targets where I disconnected right as I would get to battle. I didn't disconnect, but I would get stuck on the spinning circle of death. So, I'd have to refresh. And by the time I'd get back in, it seems like we're back to when you're on auto, your boat just likes to lock on to one particular ship and then just follow that wherever it goes. So, like, when I got back in the battle, like, I'm knee-deep in the hoopla, like, surrounded by boats on all sides saying, oh, well, yeah, this is a really bad auto situation.
And these P clouds really do melt your ship if you hang out in them for long enough. So don't go in the clouds.
What were you going to say, Simba?
No, I was going to say I had 4 deadly and then one of the other ones. I had to pull my fleet in to look.
So you're killing them before you surface them, aren't you, Simba?
I haven't paid it that much mind.
Okay.
Well, I guess the good thing with these CICs is that it won't take you, apart from an empty shipyard, to be able to click them over. So that's a positive, I guess. So
Right.
So that might be worth looking at changing. So, so a couple of things, other things that I did want to talk about this week is the extra FM. I did want to say that it was a very positive thing that was kept going for everybody, and it certainly made a difference to where I was ready for the raid and not being ready for the raid, and that I actually got a chance to do it, because normally this sort of thing, when it goes down, you know, you've got a window of 2 hours and I'm at work or whatever and I miss out. But in this particular instance, it was really good that they kept it going and that a lot of people could take advantage of that. So I did want to say that was a good thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the only way that they could fix the problem with people that were not being able to get things out of the store was to do a complete reset. And then everyone jumped on it real quick so they could get to build tokens.
Yeah, I may have been late to work because I wanted to take advantage of it for once, because normally I will always miss out on this sort of stuff. So I was pretty happy to see that happen.
So Stardust in chat has asked about the tall ship like a couple times now. I have no idea what she's talking about. Do you?
I do, because that was the other thing that I was going to talk about, was that this was, so I'm assuming that she's talking about the Yanis half centaur battle, and that everyone got 50 gold, which is good, because as I said last week, I don't care about the results, just give me the 50 gold. So the link to I did put it on the page, but you'll see that they've done a bit of a Facebook video of the highlight reel, basically, of the battle. So, but you know, to me,
the one that half Sunfar let Yanis win, you mean?
Yeah. To me, it was just a PR thing anyway. So, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
But thanks for the 50 gold. You know, I'll never turn that down. And you would think that there would be more of a general buzz around about that, but there hasn't seemed to be too much excitement.
So you're saying the kicks I wanted to give us the 50 gold as a PR promotion, and the whole vote thing was just to kind of drum up some excitement.
I agree. I would think so. And in all honesty, I think it did. I mean, it drew in some. I wish it would have drawn in a little bit more, maybe, but it did draw in some. I mean, people were even fighting on the different Facebook pages about who picked and who was deserving of what, and so, you know, it did draw some little bit of banter and fun. And I'm happy for that they actually tried to add in a little bit of fun. I'm okay with things like that don't go over like 100%, you know, but they tried on them, you know, and I liked it.
My issue with the tournament is the mechanics. The actual mechanical game does not fit a tournament style. I mean, only 10 of us could watch a combat at once, any rate. So there's no place that they could have an actual tournament where we could watch and actually from inside the game. I know we could go to YouTube or Twitch or whatever they streamed it on and watch it from there. But, you know, they couldn't even set up like a ladder tournament or anything like that. The mechanical parts of this game do not support that. So I like the idea of a PvP tournament. I think it's a great idea. But if nobody can watch it, what's the point?
Well, it wasn't really even a tournament, though, was it? It was just a one-on-one battle.
Right. Who's the winner? Who's the best is the best is what it was, right?
But even so, it was something I couldn't watch.
It looked like they were demonstrating the new octopus thing.
Yes, I mean, I guess the tall ship thing that they're talking about was just the skin for the one boat. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the skin that it wasn't a different hull. It did appear to be a different hull. I've had people ask the same thing, so it was just a skin.
It was like how we had that event. I can't remember which one it was called, but it was like the Flying Dutchman. Basically, is so Half Centaur's fleet was similar to that. It's not the same. So, but I agree. It seemed to be more of something to excite people into getting the Strider. To me, anyway. But I'll always take.
The skin was for what? Was it the Corsair or the frigate? I think it was the Corsair, but I'm not sure.
Well, that was just a black skin. So yeah, so that was for the Corsair.
Yeah, the one that had the big sails and everything, right?
No.
Okay, well then what's that one? That's the one they're asking about.
Right.
And that's the one I thought was skin for the Corsair.
No. So if you watch the video, the Corsair skin is a black skin. I would assume that, and it is an assumption, is that the tool sales isn't something that we've got access to. I think that was Half Centaur's fleet, and that's not something that would be available to the masses. I don't know.
Oh, you're saying you really think that that's a different fleet altogether?
Yeah, I don't think that's true because they said specifically in the whole description for the event that Half Centaur would have access only to the exact same stuff that the players did to do this tournament. So my understanding was that was a skin for one of the boats, and I thought it was for the Corsair, but it could have been the frigate. I don't know.
That was also my understanding, that we were looking at a skin for the frigate or the Corsair. Those were your two options. I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'll have to go back and look at the way it fired. We'll be able to tell.
Well, that's the thing, because it was firing. So it can't have been. It couldn't have been the frigate because the frigate's missiles. But when you look at the final battle, the interceptor, and they've zoomed in on it, so the interceptor is black, and I believe that is the skin that they're talking about. So there you go. But the link's in the forum, and it's on the page as well if you want to watch it. But it's just a highlights reel. It's not every single battle bit by bit. It's all edited down and blah blah blah. So
I mean, I guess in the end it doesn't make a fuck. We got 50 gold. That's all we really cared about.
Pretty much.
But I do still think it drew some excitement. I mean, it did. People were fighting over who voted for who. I was laughing and laughing. People were getting mad at each other and everything. It was pretty good. So
Okay.
I mean, I'd say personally, I'd love to see old timey ship skins for all our boats, with like skins that we can get with sails and insignias and stuff on them. For old timey stuff. I'd love to do that, but that's just me.
I think you're playing the wrong game for that.
No, I agree. I wish we could do paint jobs and the whole bit, or something to set up. If I like skins myself, I don't like skins that cost more than a hull or as much as a hull. But I like skins to be able to separate with old man eyes to tell which ship is what. So that's why I like them. But at any rate, I'm not still chugging on this raid. I'm just not feeling it. It's not like it doesn't have me totally shut off the game. It has me still participating. It has me hitting down with a fleet of bat rays by choice, and that's I find strange. But
in chat saying tall ships with torpedoes. That's good. Very good. All
If
right.
they added,
we're only supposed to build ships that are pretty, so.
Well, they could give us back the Chinese junk that they tried to put on us a couple of years ago that we all rebelled on. That artwork was rather, yeah.
Okay, what was that?
I don't remember that.
That was that first graphics change in 2012 or 13 or whatever it was. I'm guessing that's what you're talking about, Chuck.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
I don't remember seeing a Chinese junk. I just remember seeing a bunch of shit that looked terrible.
it always baffled me how Kixeye does have a pretty good art team. I do think some of the hulls are really quite nice. Why they just didn't have their art team create like 3 skins for every hull they come out with, and then sell some of them off, so we can have like a huge wide array of ships. That would be a nice easy way to monetize the game without impacting anything.
Well, I mean, they could make those first place prizes for personal leaderboards and alliance leaderboards, because people will coin the shit out of that crap. I mean, we saw with the Heart Dreadnought skin. People went crazy with money trying to get that thing, and all it was a skin. So to think you'd always have to have like 70 days worth of build tokens in there is just asinine, because all you're doing at that point is like making that gap between the haves and have-nots even bigger, and you're actually, in my opinion, they're probably losing money by that, because those people who are more than likely going to spend money to do those 70 days of builds that they just gave them free tokens for now don't have to spend that money.
I'd agree.
You had to bring up the pink breacher skin, didn't you?
I did. Because I personally think that was the best, probably, leaderboard prize thing they ever had, because it didn't really make a fuck in the game, but the people who wanted it were still spending like crazy people to get it.
And
so everybody wanted that situation.
And the hat.
I still want it to this day.
I think the hat had the same effect. You know what I mean? In all honesty, the numbers that were going on the leaderboards were just crazy for the hats, and when that was an option, and heck, that would be good. Those type of things are really good because they don't really affect the overall running of the game. And like you were mentioning, the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
If I really wanted to, they could come out with a apparel store and people would go nuts and buy that stuff.
Oh yeah.
We in our one show, I think it was like one of the end of the year shows that we were talking about. We came up with all kinds of marketing shit for them, like 3D models. Oh my god, could you imagine how much some of these people who play this game would spend on 3D models of their favorite boats?
Oh,
easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has anyone heard anything about crews being messed up?
They seem to move back.
Someone has rolled a triple salty?
I did.
Okay, excellent. That was worrying.
Last week I rolled 2 irradiated cutthroats.
I've got 3 of them now.
Yeah, as far as I know, that was all fixed up. As far as I know, last week. So
I'd like to see the Siren crew come back out.
I tried the Siren crew in here. Have you ever found a place where the Siren crew is actually really effective?
Actually, the shipwreck. Shipwreck seems to be the best one for it.
I agree. Shipwreck's pretty good in shipwreck.
Just freak everybody's eyes out for a second. Yeah, I've only ever used them in shipwrecks. I didn't worry about them too much. So, in fact, I found that they were holding me up from other crews, so I ended up dumping them. So.
I found those quite effective in the assault raid with running the Saturns or the especially the Nemesis.
Yeah, I also found it very kind of off-putting because of the aura and everything as well. So,
has anybody actually tried them in this raid? I would kind of almost think they would be okay in this format.
I found that targets died too fast for me to get a good reload off of them. I found that Molotov Maidens was my go-to fleet.
Crew, you mean?
But yes, crew. However, I only have 2 of these left, so, wasn't a great test.
Don't have many sirens left, so I don't want to waste them.
I haven't had enough of these targets to experiment with crews at the moment. So, but my suppressor will be probably finished by the time that the show finishes. So I'll try hitting some targets after that. So
Cool. All right, well, let's roll through this BP next week and then get the fuck out of here.
Yep, I agree. So this is what's coming up in the next week. So I kind of thought this was a kind of nice idea, actually, that so there's a new art showcase and that we can download 3 wallpapers. I kind of thought that was a nice idea. It seems strange that, a lot of other games offer this, and it seems strange that it's taken them this long to work this shit out. But anyway.
I have a lurker. I have the lurker picture as my background at the moment. It's really nice. Dark green. Very nice.
Yeah, I know I stole one or borrowed one. I didn't steal it at all. No copyright infringement there. I borrowed one to use, but that was like an old one with the oh man, what's that ship? The one that spat out the drony drones. Anyway, never mind. So the update goes out on Tuesday, which, I mean, this one is pretty important. So the FM briefing, so will include the info on the targets and what you can expect in the reward store. So I remember a few weeks ago that they were talking at the sort of mid or end of July that the FM was going to change. So I guess this is where they're starting to talk about this. So the FM goes live on Wednesday the 17th, and then we've got VXP weekend.
Well, you glossed over what I thought was the important part there is what you can expect in the reward store. Is this where they're going to drop the bomb about the tier 6 and tier 7?
It could be. It could be.
Actually, I think you skipped over another bombshell there. Skipping bombshells all over the place. Include info on targets. That tells me the targets are changing. Am I reading that any different than anybody else?
No, that's what I said. Yeah.
I was going to say, he didn't skip over that. He specifically said that.
Whoops. All right, my ears skipped over that. My apologies.
It's denial.
How many weeks?
Splash damage. If you skip over it, it doesn't get you.
How many weeks has it been since Praetorians were first introduced?
Well, it's been, 2 months?
Yeah.
So yeah, target changes do.
Well, yeah, I remember them. Chris was saying it in the calendar, however many weeks ago it was now, that it was going to be, towards the end of July. So it would make sense that they are.
Yeah, my understanding was we were going to get like 2 top new targets, but everything else is going to stay the same, I think, is what was said.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
They're probably going to drop the 120s on us because we're doing them for free.
I was just about to say, as long as they leave the 120s alone, I'm totally okay.
They're becoming very hard to find on the map.
Well, you're fine until they put that fleet restriction on.
Correct.
And how many ships does everybody have to rank for VXP weekend?
No.
0.
I mean, I have a Praetorian flagship because I'm way behind in my Praetorians, but, you know.
Nothing. I got nothing.
Apparently, there were suppressor VXP tokens in Pillage,
Oh,
which I did not see. So I did not. A bunch of my alliance said they were there and they picked them up. So, and of course they didn't mention it to me, which irritates me.
Well, that's weird. I didn't see him there. Well, that's one thing. Like, I really don't like this way they've started adding things into the raid, but not mentioning anything. This is really, and not just raid apparently, but in pillage too. That's a problem.
Can we take a step back? So which VXP tokens?
Suppressor.
Suppressor.
I didn't think the suppressor needed.
Actually, yeah, I didn't think it did either.
It doesn't, but you can rank it. It doesn't need it because all you do is sit next to the enemy ship and it melts. I mean.
Oh, I'm sorry. You meant upgrade. You meant upgrade.
No, I mean VXP.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't
you can
think
get rank on it.
Can you?
It doesn't need it.
I didn't think you could get rank on it.
I must admit, I thought it was like the interceptors that it was what it was and it didn't get rank.
Okay.
I don't have one built yet, so I can't say.
Yeah, I'm not positive either. So.
Okay.
I have not seen one on the map with rank.
Irish in chat is saying his is at 2 stripes.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Carl says you can rank one, so okay.
Good deal. Well, that actually changes all kinds of things because they can be used if they hit the interceptors. Yeah. Well, interesting.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking that you could only have one. They were just following the same way they had laid out with interceptors, and you couldn't rank them.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing those tokens, and I was checking regularly in Pillage, so.
I've pulled up the Pillage list, and I'm just looking to make sure my friends, my ally mates weren't telling me tall tales and trying to wind me up. So.
There was definitely steel plate silverfish VXP tokens.
Yeah, the steel plate one was in there.
So unless that's what they're talking about.
Well, like, what's got added in this raid so far without any mention? Because I know they put in upgrade kits for the steel plate and the silverfish both, and didn't mention it anywhere.
I thought those were always in there.
Nope, they weren't in there in the beginning.
Okay.
The only thing that's mentioned on Discord is the fact that they added a bonus section, and that was all 6 PvP ships. And now they've done another change because I went into the prize list and looked again, and now they've got the bonus tech, and then below that they've got interceptors separated from the other prize group, whereas before it wasn't separated.
I'm double checking the prize list for the raid to make sure there's upgrade kits weren't in there from the beginning, but I am pretty sure they were not.
I don't know. Sorry, one way or the other. But anyway, thanks for people confirming in chat that you can rank the. Oh my goodness, I've got vape oil everywhere.
Yeah, the upgrade to the suppressor is over 8 days.
Yeah, but where do you buy the upgrade kits?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's obviously new then.
I don't think we need the. I don't think it needs the upgrade. Honestly, not for what it does.
You bet it might do next raid. That's the issue. So if they're offering them, you know you're going to need to do it. As much as we don't like it, because, you know, as Damnation said a million times, you know, the story about not needing upgrade kits, we know it's not true. So if there's upgrade kits in there, you know you're going to need them. So, anyway. All right, well, we've been waffling on for an hour or so now. So is there anything else anyone else wants to finish off on?
Other than that, I was just breezing through the original prize list real quick, and I did not see the upgrade kits for those 2 boats in there anywhere at the get-go. So yes, I'm pretty sure they got added, and they neglected to say anything.
Okay.
So this isn't a bad raid. This is just a not particularly exciting raid. And with a exceptionally limited prize list. And it's 6 days for some reason.
Actually, I was going to go back to that, because is it that traditionally this would have been a, you know, whole store, tech store raid, and that's why it's 6 days?
Christmas in July.
Yeah, that's just an American made-up thing. Don't look at that. Christmas is Christmas.
What do you want?
Soggy in chat just brought up a great point too. He's like, why worry about upgrading hulls when you only have 2 months worth of raid cycle now?
Which is a great point. Normally I would point to time-limited campaigns and all that, which would come up, and this would help you get by the time-limited campaigns. But at the same time, we really haven't had very many time-limited campaigns as of late that have been particularly useful. I'm not going to do the upgrade.
I'm not going to have time.
I don't have time.
Anybody who has their silverfish up to U2 or whatever level that is where you get the thorns, have you noticed the thorns make any difference? Because everybody I've talked to said they saw no noticeable difference.
No, none at all.
No.
It's completely useless.
Which is kind of sad. That was the one upgrade everybody was happy about.
The only way I thought it would actually work is if it got the damage bump from our hull, because it specifically says on here concussive thorns, and so it should get the damage bump off of our hull plus, in my case, 709% concussive damage. Then it would actually do something. But
well, they confirmed on Discord that it was supposed to get the damage buff, but I mean, hasn't that almost always been the case, that our thorns are shit, but their thorns are great?
I think what we have here is another mines incident. You know, someone talked up a great game about how the mines were going to be fantastic off the Nemesis X, but turns out they're pretty much duds.
Yep.
It was funny because I was the 112 and 114s that I have hit, I was, you know, turning around and kiting, and I was so used to driving Nemis that I'm like, oh, there's no mines. What's going on here? It was a worry. I know it's a totally different ship. It did. I guess I've been driving Nemis way too long, so. Yeah.
So it's a great concept, but practical, no.
I have to say, well, I'm not a big fan of the raid format. The raid itself obviously more than the last couple raids with the rock. Sad.
Cool. And Bama's saying in chat that the suppressors goes to U1 and adds 14,000 survival on concussive and explosive. So I guess that could come in handy, but it's having the time to do it, I guess, is probably going to be the biggest deal. So there you go. Very good. All right. On that note, I think we'll finish this up and we can get back to it, because my suppressor's finished building now and I can go and drive it and see what it's like. So very good. we have excelled ourselves this week because we've got 2 thumbs down. So we've done particularly well. So I'm happy with that. I can sleep tonight. So good luck with your raid, everyone. And I guess if you want to like the video, you can. If you want to dislike it, you can. Whichever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, your raid goes well, and we'll see you all next week.
Laters.
Peace all.
Have a good one.
Good night.